the letters very much as a mother, somebody we can all relate to when talking about her children being naughty at school.
They called her the People's Princess, but behind the palace walls, Diana was a mother living in fear. A hidden letter, uncovered after 25 years, reveals her deepest fears for Prince William's future, written in shaky handwriting, smudged with tears. Inside were chilling warnings that the royal family fought to silence. What did Diana desperately want her son to know before it was too late?
So these were personal letters. The star lots were those personal letters from Diana, Princess of Wales, to him.
And why did the Crown try so hard to keep this letter from ever being seen? Join us as we unveil Princess Diana's hidden letter to William that has the world in shock. The Secret Letters. In the quiet corner of a busy London auction house, something amazing happened in July 2004. No big announcements, no flashy headlines, just a simple listing in a catalogue that would soon change how the world remembered Princess Diana. The listing described handwritten letters from Diana herself, not the kind that royal staff carefully wrote and checked. These were different, personal notes Diana had written by hand to someone special named Violet Collison. Violet wasn't just any person. She had been the Spencer family's housekeeper for decades. She knew Diana before the tiaras and titles, back when she was just a shy young girl running through the halls of her childhood home. Violet had watched Diana grow up, fall in love, and become the most photographed woman in the world. What made these letters so special was their authenticity.
From the age of 15 and a half, when he joined the palace and looking for fires during the Blitz, we understand.
Royal family members typically send formal notes that their assistants write for them. But Diana wrote these herself, often late at night when the palace was quiet. Her handwriting would sometimes get messy when she felt emotional. She crossed out words and added little notes in the margins. Sometimes she even drew small hearts or smiley faces, things you would never see in official royal letters. The auction house staff had been surprised when the letters arrived. They had handled royal items before, but these felt different, more personal, more valuable in ways that went beyond money. Diana's letters to Violet showed the side of her life that cameras never captured. One letter stood out from all the others. Written about Prince William, it showed just how deeply Diana loved her oldest son. She wrote about watching him sleep, about his first words, and about how his smile reminded her of her father. She shared her hopes and worries for him, writing as a mother rather than as a princess. The auction house experts carefully placed each letter in protective sleeves. They knew collectors would pay thousands for them. Royal historians would study them. But they also knew these letters were more than just items to sell. They were pieces of history that showed a different side of a princess. News of the letters spread quietly at first. A few royal experts mentioned them in newspaper columns. Then, royal fans began discussing them online. Soon, people all over the world were interested in what Diana had written all those years ago. The letters revealed sides of Diana that official biographies had overlooked. Her worries about everyday mom things, like whether William was sleeping enough or eating properly, how she sometimes felt lost in the vast palaces she called home, and how she found comfort in writing to someone who truly knew her. By the time the auction day arrived, the small London auction house was crowded with people. Camera crews waited outside. Royal watchers from different countries sat ready with their bidding paddles. Everyone wanted a piece of Diana's private world, a world that had remained hidden until these letters finally came to light. Diana's secret letters revealed her private thoughts, but what else do they show? From royal bride to mother. The letters Diana wrote to Violet Collison told a story that unfolded over many years. They captured her transformation from a young woman preparing for the world's biggest wedding to a mother whose children became her whole universe. In a letter dated July 8, 1981, just weeks before she would walk down the aisle at St. Paul's Cathedral, Diana wrote with surprising calmness, while 750 million people worldwide prepared to watch her wedding, and royal staff rushed around in panic, Diana herself kept a playful, light-hearted tone in her writing. She joked about the wedding chaos, but mentioned she was staying cool despite it all. This letter revealed a side of Diana that the public rarely saw: her sense of humor, even in the face of pressure. Though just 20 and about to marry in front of millions, she wrote like she was chatting with a friend. Over time, her letters became more heartfelt. She shared her deep love for her sons. These weren't royal fairy tales. They were honest stories of messy, joyful motherhood. She talked about William refusing vegetables and Harry scratching his chicken pox. Her words showed she wasn't just a princess in gowns. She was a hands-on mom. Palace staff noticed the change, too. Early on, Diana was quiet and unsure, but motherhood made her stronger. She often put her boys first, even canceling royal duties if they needed her. Through these letters, Diana's true self, warm, funny, and devoted, quietly came to life. Diana's letters from 1982 to 1989 revealed how motherhood altered her priorities. In the early letters, she wrote about royal tours and meeting important people, but later, these fancy events took up less space in her writing. Instead, she filled pages with descriptions of William's first day at school and Harry's talent for making everyone laugh. The letters also revealed something sad: the loneliness that can accompany royal life. Diana wrote about long evenings in huge palace rooms while Prince Charles was away on royal duties. She described sitting by her children's beds, watching them sleep, finding peace in those quiet moments that no royal title could provide. By 1989, Diana's letters showed a woman who had found her purpose. She wrote less about tiaras and banquets and more about the simple joy of being William and Harry's mother. In her own words, written late at night on palace stationery, Diana revealed that behind the princess title lay a mother whose greatest happiness came from her 2 boys. Diana's motherhood transformed her from a shy princess to a confident parent, but what makes one special birthday letter the most treasured glimpse into her private family life? The birthday thank you note. Among all the letters Diana wrote over the years, one stands out as especially precious. Dated June 21, 1989. This wasn't just any letter. It was a thank you note written on official Kensington Palace paper about Prince William's 7th birthday celebration. The letter was addressed to Sergeant George Plum of the Special Escort Group, who had arranged a surprise motorcycle show for Prince William's birthday. The performance thrilled William, Harry, and their friends. Diana wrote her thanks on cream-colored stationery from the palace. Her handwriting was neat but warm, far from the usual formal royal tone. She described how much joy the motorcycle display brought to the children and their mothers. What made the letter especially touching were the 2 signatures beneath her. William and Harry had added their names. William's was careful. Harry's was a cheerful scribble. Royal children rarely signed official notes, making this a rare and heartfelt gesture. Experts saw it as Diana teaching her sons the value of gratitude. The birthday party itself was far from traditional royal events. Diana planned a loud, fun celebration with games, treats, and a cake shaped like a motorcycle. Children from William's school were invited, not just the kids of aristocrats. Photos show William in jeans and a sweater, laughing with friends. After the party, Diana helped her sons write thank you notes, patiently guiding them as they wrote.
A favourite of the royals is what I would perhaps like to say. And
a palace maid recalled how she taught them that saying thank you mattered, no matter who you were. When the letter to Sergeant Plum appeared at auction years later, it caused quite a stir. Handwriting experts confirmed it was genuine. Several of Sergeant Plum's colleagues remembered that day too, how Diana had made tea for the motorcycle officers after the display, and how William had peppered them with questions about their bikes. The letter sold for much more than expected. The buyer wasn't just paying for a royal signature, but for a moment frozen in time, a day when a princess and her sons sat together, writing a simple thank you note, just like any normal family might do. This heartfelt thank you note showed Diana's personal touch as a mother. But how did she completely revolutionize what it meant to be a royal parent? Breaking royal parenting traditions. Diana broke all the rules when it came to raising her sons. For hundreds of years, royal children had been raised in a very strict way. They lived by strict schedules, wore formal attire, and spent most of their time with nannies and tutors rather than their parents. Royal parents were often distant figures who appeared at special times, such as holidays or for official photographs. Diana wanted none of that for William and Harry. From the very beginning, she was determined to give them something different, a childhood filled with hugs, laughter, and real-world experiences. Her former bodyguard, Ken Worf, remembered how shocked palace staff were when Diana announced she would take William and Harry to places regular kids went.
Ken Worf became a close friend and loyal confidant who shared Diana's most private moment.
Before Diana, royal children hardly ever left palace grounds except for carefully planned official visits. Ken told stories about Diana disguising herself with a wig and sunglasses so she could take the boys to movies. She would buy tickets herself and sit in regular seats, not special VIP areas. Once she even took them to see the movie E.T. and bought them popcorn and soda, just like any mom would. One of Diana's most shocking breaks with tradition happened on a rainy Tuesday in 1993. She decided to take William and Harry to ride the London Underground, the subway system most Londoners used every day. No royal had ever done this with their children before. Diana bought tickets from the machine herself and showed the boys how to push through the turnstiles. Fellow passengers were stunned to see the Princess of Wales and her sons sitting on the same plastic seats everyone else used. Diana was determined to give William and Harry a childhood filled with normal experiences. She took them to McDonald's for Happy Meals and let them play in the playground with other kids, something unheard of in royal circles. She also brought them to homeless shelters and hospital wards. When William was just 10, she took him to meet people without homes, wanting him to see life beyond palace walls. No royal children before them had experienced this kind of exposure. Diana broke tradition again by enrolling William in a local preschool instead of using private tutors. She even joined in school events, once winning a mother's race on sports day. She also showed open affection, hugging her sons, holding their hands, and kneeling to speak to them face to face. That level of warmth was rare in royal parenting. Some palace officials criticized her approach, calling it too modern. But Diana stood firm, telling friends she wanted her sons to understand real life. Diana broke every royal parenting rule in the book, but how did her hands-on approach from day one shock the palace and forever change the monarchy? Hands-on motherhood. When Prince William was born on June 21, 1982, Diana was only 20 years old. She was young, nervous, and had minimal experience with babies. But what she lacked in experience, she made up for with love and determination. From the start, Diana made it clear she would be a different kind of royal mother. When a nurse tried to take baby William to the palace nursery, Diana refused. She wanted her son to sleep beside her. That alone shocked the royal family, who had long relied on nannies and separate nurseries. She also chose to breastfeed William herself, a break from generations of royals who used wet nurses. Even the Queen Mother was surprised, as such intimacy was not typical in royal circles. Diana also insisted on having a say in her son's name. Rather than leave it to tradition and advisors, she chose William for its warm, friendly tone. When Prince Charles traveled to Australia 6 weeks after William's birth, Diana went too, bringing baby William along. A royal baby had never traveled that far so young, but Diana said she wouldn't be separated from her son. As William grew, Diana remained closely involved. She changed diapers, gave baths, and read bedtime stories. Palace staff were stunned to see a royal mom so hands-on. At 18 months, William started nursery school. Another first for a future king. Diana enrolled him in a local preschool in Notting Hill and personally dropped him off. She even stood in the pickup line, surprising other parents who never expected to see a princess acting like any other mom. When Harry was born, Diana continued the same parenting style. She planned her royal schedule around their routines and skipped evening events if they clashed with the boys' bedtime. She also taught them basic life skills, including how to make their beds, tidy their rooms, and prepare simple meals.
And Diana said to me, without any introduction from anyone else, "I don't know if you look after my kids, Ken, because they can be a bloody nuisance."
Diana wanted them to grow up understanding how to take care of themselves, rather than relying solely on staff. Those who worked closely with her recalled how she would hurry through royal duties to spend more time with her sons. Palace maids often heard laughter echoing through the halls as Diana played tag or hide-and-seek with William and Harry. In a world full of rules, tradition, and protocol, Diana chose love, presence, and everyday joy. She wasn't just raising princes, she was raising children who knew the warmth of a mother's care. From the moment William was born until her final days, Diana proved that being a hands-on mother was her most important role, one that would change the royal family forever. Diana gave a new definition to royal motherhood with her hands-on approach, but how did she protect her sons as her own fairy tale marriage began to fall apart? Divorced and prioritizing her sons. By the early 1990s, Diana faced the hardest challenge of her life. Her marriage to Prince Charles was breaking down, and the whole world was watching.
It is announced from Buckingham Palace that, with regret, the Prince and Princess of Wales have decided to separate.
For many people going through divorce, it's a private pain. For Diana, it played out in newspapers and on TV screens across the globe. In 1992, when the royal family officially announced that Diana and Charles were separating, William was 10 years old and Harry was only 8. Both boys were old enough to understand something was wrong, but too young to fully grasp what was happening. Diana knew this time would shape them forever. During this painful period, Diana turned her focus even more intensely toward her children. She created what her friends called a bubble of normality around William and Harry. Inside Kensington Palace, she set up Apartment 8 as a true family home, not a stuffy royal residence. She filled it with the boys' favorite things: video games, sports equipment, and even a popcorn machine for movie nights. Diana carefully chose schools that would support her sons emotionally during this difficult time. She picked Ludgrove School for William because the headmaster was known for his kind approach to children from divorced families. She visited the school beforehand and spoke privately with teachers, asking them to treat William as usual and to let her know if he seemed upset or withdrawn. When Charles admitted his unfaithfulness on national television in June 1994, Diana was devastated not just for herself, but for her sons. That night, she kept the TV turned off in their rooms and spent the evening playing board games with them. The next morning, she drove them to school, shielding them from the newspapers with their father's confessions splashed across the front pages. During her own famous Panorama interview in November 1995, Diana ensured that William and Harry were away at school, thereby protecting them from the immediate fallout. However, afterward, she sat with each boy separately to explain things in a way they could understand. She never spoke badly about their father to them, even when she was hurting the most. The official divorce in August 1996 brought more challenges. Diana lost her title of Her Royal Highness, though she remained Princess of Wales. The loss of HRH might seem like just 3 letters, but it meant Diana would now technically have to curtsy to many people, including, someday, her sons. After the divorce was final, Diana worked even harder to give William and Harry stability. She kept their routines consistent and made sure they still had regular visits with Charles and the Queen. She tried to coordinate her schedule with Charles so that one parent was always available if the boys needed them. Without the full royal security team she once had, Diana became more creative in finding ways to give her sons normal experiences. She would take them out early in the morning when fewer people were around. She made friends with shop owners, who would let them in through back doors to avoid crowds. In letters written during this period, Diana's main concern was always how William and Harry were coping. She wrote about William's growing interest in his future role and how she wanted him to understand the human side of being a leader, not just the rules and protocols. She wrote about Harry's sensitive nature and her hopes that he would find his path separate from his brother's predetermined one. Diana's friends said that during the divorce, when she could have been bitter or angry, she instead focused all her energy on being the best mother she could. Even on her darkest days, she put on a brave face for William and Harry, saving her tears for when she was alone. After stepping out of the royal spotlight, Diana could have chosen a quiet life, but instead she made a bold decision, one that changed lives across the world. What drove her? Humanitarian work and lasting legacy. Once Diana left royal duties behind, many expected her to fade into private life quietly. But she didn't. She focused her energy on the people and causes she truly cared about, and this chapter of her life revealed her deepest values. After stepping away from over 100 charities, Diana kept only a few that held deep, personal meaning. She worked closely with Centrepoint to support homeless youth and remained active with Great Ormond Street Hospital, the Royal Marsden, the National AIDS Trust, and the Leprosy Mission. These weren't just formal ties. She visited patients, listened to families, and offered her time with quiet compassion. Even without a royal title, Diana continued her mission with heart and determination. She became a global symbol of kindness, proving that true impact doesn't need a crown. Behind the scenes, though, her life was quieter and more vulnerable. Without royal protection, she often felt exposed and alone, but her sons were her foundation. She built her days around William and Harry's school life, met their teachers, and showed up for every event. Her role as a mother always came first. At the same time, Diana began speaking more about her fears. She shared her concern for her safety in letters to trusted friends. One note even mentioned she believed someone might try to harm her. While the contents of those letters remain debated, they give a glimpse into how much pressure she was under. Still, she kept going. In January 1997, Diana traveled to Angola with the International Red Cross. There, she walked through a cleared minefield wearing a helmet and protective vest. Her visit drew attention to the suffering caused by landmines and helped push the issue onto the world stage. It was a bold move, standing in danger's path so others could be safe. In those last months, she spent time preparing William and Harry for their futures. She wanted them to grow up with empathy. She told them leadership wasn't about power. It was about service. She believed their roles in the world could bring hope to others. Then came the night of August 31st, 1997. A car crash in Paris took Diana's life.
Thursday marks 20 years since Princess Diana was killed in a car crash inside a Paris tunnel.
William was just 15, Harry only 12. The world watched as her sons walked behind her coffin, faces full of grief, but her voice lived on in them, in their actions, their values, and the work they would one day take on. Diana's final years were not quiet. They were filled with heart, courage, and purpose. Her legacy wasn't left in a palace. It was left in the people she helped and in the boys she raised. What if one mother's love could rewrite the rules of royalty? Did Diana do just that? If a few handwritten letters can reveal so much, what else is being kept hidden behind palace doors? Share your thoughts with us in the comments section. Remember to like, share, and subscribe for more. Also, click the next video showing on your screen. You will enjoy it.